Few firearms in history have a reputation as legendary as the
Bro, I want a Tommy gun so bad.
Thompson
Aren't you
submachine
broke?
gun, better known as the Tommy gun. It's a weapon with dual identities, the trusted companion of Allied soldiers in World War II, and the favored firepower of gangsters during Prohibition. Nicknamed the Chicago typewriter.
I remember in my history class, I think when I was in, no, not freshman, I think sophomore, my history teacher, one of our like projects was pick a gangster, pick a mafia during the Great Depression, and you just write about them. And damn, I learned a lot about this fucker. This fucker was awesome.
This iconic weapon wasn't just a tool of war. It was a symbol of chaos, power, and innovation. But what you might not know is that behind the Tommy gun's fame lies a series of wild experiments, powerful variants, and bizarre prototypes. Today we're going to dive deep into the weird and wonderful evolution of the Thompson, from trench broom to international icon. The origins, the Annihilator, and the Persuader. Long before the Tommy gun earned its reputation on the streets of Chicago, it began as a radical idea to dominate the trench warfare stalemate of World War I. John Taliaferro Thompson, a seasoned Army ordnance officer, envisioned a...
The gun was slow, but it was fucking sexy as hell. I mean, pulling that shit like a scope, and damn.
trench broom, a fully automatic weapon so powerful that one soldier could, in his words, wipe out a whole company single-handedly. In 1917, the first prototype came to life, the Persuader. That sounds intimidating, right? Unfortunately, its performance didn't live up to its name. It was chambered in 45 ACP and used a cloth tape feed to hold the bullets. This unreliable system caused constant jams, turning the would-be trench-clearing monster into more of a headache than a hero. But Thompson wasn't done. He kept refining the design, and the next prototypes, known as the Annihilator series, improved reliability, fire rate, and internal mechanics. Several were tested by the U.S. Army, but the war ended before they could be mass-produced. Eventually, all that tinkering led to the M1919, the final prototype before full-scale production began. The Tommy gun goes to war. Production models.
When?
In 1921, the world finally met the production-ready Thompson, the M1921. Initially pitched to military and law enforcement agencies, the gun quickly found its way into less official hands.
I'm about to say, why the fuck does the police have it? That's more like a military gun.
While the U.S. Army forces bought a few, organized crime fell in love with the Tommy gun's high rate of fire, 800 rounds a minute, and compact size. It was perfect for bank robberies, shootouts, and dramatic movie scenes. As the military warmed up to the Thompson, they introduced improved models. The M1928 and M1928A1 featured better recoil, a reduced rate of fire, and structural tweaks like a compensator and redesigned foregrip.
But the thing is, and I'm not sure if they're going to cover it, but, this version of the Thompson was good, but it was easy to jam due to weather conditions. It wasn't like the AK where there's like a massive test, right, that it could survive, mud, dirt, so on and so forth.
The U.S. Marine Corps used them, as did British and French forces. And then came World War II. America needed more guns fast. Enter the M1 and M1A1. These versions were simplified for mass production, ditched the iconic drum magazine in favor of 20 and 30 round sticks, and were easier to maintain.
And
even after newer weapons like the M3 grease gun arrived, the Thompson stuck around, serving in World War.
You were like, eat that shit, let's put another one, and bam, and it's very, very easy to carry. I think so. I gotta check right now, but I'll check later.
War II, Korea, and even making surprise appearances in Vietnam. The M1923, the heavy hitter Tommy gun. The standard Tommy gun fired the same 45 ACP round as the Colt 1911 pistol, a slow but heavy-hitting bullet. But what if you needed more firepower? That's where the M1923 Heavy Thompson came in. Built off the M1921 design, this beast featured a longer barrel with...
I didn't know they made a Heavy Thompson. Holy fuck.
Cooling ribs, a beefed-up frame, and a new cartridge, the 45 Remington Thompson. This round was no joke, doubling the muzzle velocity of the original 45 ACP at 1,450 feet.
Oh, that noise. Dot, 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 dot. Ooh.
Per second. The M1923 was essentially firing full auto Magnum rounds. It was pitched as a competitor to the Browning automatic rifle, the BAR, but the military passed. Only a few prototypes were ever made.
Damn.
Still, it proved one thing. You could make a Tommy gun terrifying in entirely new ways. Are you ready to meet the trench-clearing, gangster-stopping legend of firepower? Well, let me introduce you to the legendary Thompson submachine gun. This 1/3 scale accurate replica is 10 inches or 28 centimeters when assembled, and it weighs in at a robust 10 ounces.
10 ounces?
Made from die-cast black metal with a wood grain acrylic stock, it features a functional bolt, a squeezable trigger, and a removable metal magazine with working mag release. While it doesn't cycle dummy rounds or fire, it includes 3 non-firing 45 rounds for display. With a closed barrel and included trophy stand, it is a true collector's piece, easy to assemble and built to impress. So whether you're channeling your inner 1920s mobster or World War II paratrooper, the Thompson is your kind of firepower. Consider adding the mini ammo can too. Accessories sold separately. Grab yours through the link in the description and help support Simple History. Display it on your desk, pose with your pet, gift it to a friend, or trade it with fellow collectors. Oh, and one more thing, use our code at checkout for 10% off. Turning the Tommy into a rifle, the Thompson Light Rifle. By the 1940s, the military needed something lighter than a rifle, but more capable than a pistol. New competition aimed to create a lightweight semi-auto carbine for support troops, drivers, artillery crews, and others not on the front lines. Auto Ordnance, the company behind the Thompson.
I believe the British people made a copycat of the Thompson. Yeah, I think so, but it wasn't not as good as the American ones.
Entered with the Thompson Light Rifle, but there was one big problem. It was supposed to weigh under 5 pounds, and it came in at over 10. Despite the weight, the design was clever. It fired the .30 carbine round, had a quick change barrel system, and featured stamped steel parts for easier production. It was even capable of both semi and full auto fire, a rare feature at the time. Unfortunately, it lost out to what became the legendary M1 carbine. There was also a wild attempt to chamber a Thompson in .30-06, the full-size rifle round used in the M1 Garand.
Oh, what a shame.
Only one prototype was made, and thankfully, no one had to fire that shoulder shredder in battle. British experiments, the BSA Thompson.
I knew it. They were the British. They were the British. The British are coming. The British are coming.
The Tommy gun may be an American icon, but across the Atlantic, the British were also intrigued. In 1926, Birmingham Small Arms, BSA, produced a radically reimagined Thompson chambered in 9mm. This version looked barely like a Tommy gun, resembling more of a traditional rifle. With a blistering rate of fire at 1,200 rounds a minute, it was fast, too fast. It was nearly impossible to control, and only a handful were built before the project was shelved. They tried again in 1929, this time with multiple calibers, a compensator, and better sights. But even then, only about 10 to 15 were ever produced. The Silenced Assassin, the Quiet Thompson. During World War II, British commandos needed a weapon for silent operations behind enemy lines, and the Thompson, firing a naturally subsonic round, was a perfect candidate for a suppressor. They mounted a hefty suppressor on the M1 Thompson, reducing its noise significantly. While it performed well in the field, it came at a cost. The suppressor added over 9 inches and more than 2 pounds of weight to an already bulky gun.
I mean, one of the problems with suppressors is that it's not like the movies. You feel me? It's still noisy, you know. I mean, sure, it's a little bit less noisy, but you know, yeah, I just, yeah, I know.
The silenced Thompson saw limited use before being replaced by the lighter, quieter, suppressed Sten gun in 1943. Tommy guns in China, an unlikely battlefield. In the 1930s, the U.S. shipped surplus Thompsons to China to help fight
Oh,
Japanese
that's
forces.
cool.
Many were outdated M1921s, and China began producing its own copies, especially in Sichuan province. The big issue? Ammo. The 45 ACP was rare in Asia, so many of these Chinese Thompsons were rechambered for 7.62 by 25mm Tokarev, a far more available round. Ironically, both
Alright.
sides of the Chinese Civil War used Thompsons.
Oh, yeah,
And during
yeah.
the Korean War, Chinese forces, now under communist control, clashed with U.S. troops, with both sides sometimes armed with the same gun.
Tommy versus Tommy. Who will win?
Confusion in the trenches? Yeah, you bet. The legacy. From military service to gangland shootouts, from wild prototypes to international variants, the Thompson submachine gun is a true icon of firearms history. There were even a few civilian semi-auto versions, and a few were converted for riot control with non-lethal munitions. The Tommy gun has worn many faces, but each one tells a story. The genius behind the Tommy gun was John T. Thompson, a West Point graduate and ordnance expert who helped shape modern warfare. His fingerprints are all over the iconic weapons: the M1903 Springfield, the M1917 rifle, and the legendary M1911 pistol, which came about after his experiments in a Chicago slaughterhouse of all places. He believed a combat pistol should be at least .45 caliber, and when John Browning delivered the M1911, Thompson's instincts were proven right. Even after retiring in 1918, Thompson played a key role in building rifles for both Britain and Russia after the war. And years before the term assault rifle existed, he was already envisioning weapons that filled the gap between pistols and rifles. To put it simply, if a firearm was shaped in the early 20th century, John Thompson probably had something to do with it. From gangsters to GIs, prototypes to legends, the Thompson submachine gun is more than a weapon. It's a story of ambition, innovation, and adaptability. We upload all the videos that we have to censor from YouTube to our Patreon. Right now, you can watch uncensored videos on the Battle of...
Straight up beautiful. Yeah, no, by the way, I will react to a lot of history and guns. Yeah, I love them guns. I like this fucker. This fucker is cool.
Now, if you're a fan of the channel, you
Yeah, he ran, if I remember, he ran for governor, and he lost. Yeah, it's a shame.
know by now I'm a pretty proud American. In past videos, we've shown all sorts of cool tools that the American military used to clear house in World War II, both in Europe and in the Pacific. Weapons like the M2 Browning 50 cal, the M1 Garand, the 1911, and of course the Grease.
Oh my God, 1911. I'm gonna say this right now. I think the Glock is overrated. I mean, don't get me wrong. Rest in peace to the guy that made the Glock. But it's just not the same, bro. 1911. Sure, I think the 1911 is a bit heavier, but I don't know. It's beautiful. It's more beautiful than the Glock. I think the Glock is it's simpler. I don't like simple. I like more fancy.
Gun. But when it comes to American submachine guns in World War II, really only one comes to mind. That one
Sexy.
is the Thompson. And somehow we've never done a dedicated video on one yet, so today we're gonna change that.
Oh, I wanna feel one. Oh, go back. Damn, USA. Ooh. Damn. Hell yeah. I think this is like one of the best weapons to use in the zombie apocalypse.
Keep the change, you filthy animal. God, I always wanted to say that. What is up, you sexy YouTube mother lovers? Today we are talking about the Thompson submachine gun, or more specifically, the M1A1 Thompson. As most evident by, things like the handguard and the fact that it is side charging and not top charging. There's a lot of different variants of the Thompson over the years. I know you're used to, the Prohibition era, mobster movies with the front grip here and the finned barrel, big old drum magazines, and a pinstripe suit with a cigar, the whole 9 yards. But today we're talking about the M1A1. The Thompson is actually America's oldest military issue submachine gun. It started to be developed by John Thompson, imagine that, in 1917 to try to give our boys a little bit of an extra edge when it came to clearing trenches in World War I. It was never actually finished and produced in time to be used in World War I, but it was used very shortly thereafter in the 1920s and 30s. Among other things, it was issued to the FBI. This was also, of course, the gangster era of...
Like, once again, why the fuck did the police and the FBI even had this gun? That doesn't make sense.
Of the Thompson submachine gun. In fact, during Prohibition, it was quite common for these things to be on both sides, both from the mobsters and from the revenuers, FBI, law enforcement, etc. In fact, the prominence and use in gangs of the Thompson and actually the Browning automatic rifle, the Colt Monitor, were actually the things that contributed to the banning of civilian ownership of machine guns in the United States in 1936. Because the violence in the streets was clearly caused by automatic weapons and not the raging black market and gang culture that was...
I mean, to be fair, during that time, American didn't have shit, right? I think during that time, they banned liquor too. So yeah, I mean, he banned liquor. Everyone's all pissed off, Plus, money plus working very, very hard jobs. Nah, I'll probably become a gangster and get money. Easy life, more money.
Brought about by the massively unpopular mass prohibition of alcohol.
Yep. See. I told you guys. I told you. Alcohol was banned, and people got angry. Because imagine working a long, hard job in the sun, and you just want to have a drink of alcohol, a very, very cold glass of liquor. Good shit.
Weird. Remember that cool time where thousands of Americans died because the government purposely poisoned barrels of alcohol?
Holy fuck. Damn. That's fucked up. Wow. I didn't know that. Shit. Fuck the popo. Fuck the feds. And yeah, that's kind of fucked up.
They knew people were going to drink. Yeah. Pepperidge.
Damn.
Farm remembers. The Great War II, this time it's personal, rolls around in 1939. The United States is not involved yet, but is producing a lot of weapons for the Allied powers, one of which, of course, being Russia. So we sent them a lot of these.
Yep.
Lend-Lease guns. That aged great. But then in 1941, of course, Pearl Harbor happened. The United States is now directly involved in World War II, and we started fielding Thompsons ourselves. And that's probably where you know this thing from, whether it's things like Call of Duty World at War or other World War II games, or movies like Saving Private Ryan. The Thompson is always very prominently featured, and it's a very iconic World War II weapon. Now, if you like the look of the Thompson and other guns kind of like it, especially...
It's slim, beautiful, like a good woodworking, one of my friends, he went to Las Vegas, and he tried this gun, right? Or something similar to this gun, right? I mean, it was Thompson, right? I don't know exactly what year it was, and he was like, it was like once he got it, it feels natural for him for no reason, right? No, it was perfect. It was slim, you know. It wasn't one of those bulky guns, you know.
Especially the gangster version of it. You might remember we did our video with the Kami Tommy. We made
What the fuck is that gun? Right?
that gun after we got a like goal. We said that if we got a certain amount of likes, we'd make one based on one of our episodes of Cursed Gun Images where somebody made, of course, a Photoshop
What?
of the Kami Tommy. It was a Thompson lookalike that was actually an AK chambered in 7.62 by 25 Tokarev.
Hold up.
Lookalike that was actually an AK chambered in.
Yeah, about to say it looked like an AK-47. Yeah, it's like, yeah. Huh. Damn. It looks pretty cool. Wait, hold up. Damn. Sick. That's still sick.
7.62 by 25 Tokarev. Neat project, just thought I'd throw it out there when we were talking about Thompsons. ADD break. Well, looks like we got us some Nazi white claws that want to die for country. Guess I will oblige them. Remember, kids, it's not a war crime when we do it. I ain't never even been to Geneva. So let's say you're an American soldier in World War II trying to clean up them Nazi beaches. How do you use the Thompson? So we're gonna go over basic manual of arms and show you how to use this just in case you yourself one day
Take notes, guys. You never know. Zombie apocalypse, you know.
have to make use of a Thompson that you just found. So first off, let's go ahead and show clear and remove the magazine. So you have this little paddle here that you push upward, like so, and then the magazine drops out through the bottom. Now you have a little groove here, a little rail.
Yeah.
That is also present on the back of the magazine.
Which is pretty
you make
smart.
those kith, and then you can shove the magazine back in. But for now, let's take it out and show clear. So your charging handle, again, on the M1A1 Thompson.
Yep.
Pull this back, and you see the chamber is clear. It's an open bolt, so of course the bolt stays back to the rear, and to fire the gun, pull the trigger and the bolt slams forward. The caliber, of course, is soul-killing 45 ACP. Cue the 2 world wars must stop in power. 2 world wars! Did you guys hear that? But as hefty of a round as the 45 is, the Thompson handles it pretty well because this fucker is heavy. Your typical like AR AK is like 6 or 7 pounds. This is a submachine gun meant to be super portable and light that comes in at 10 pounds unloaded. That's not including if you had it fully loaded with one of those beefy, 50 or 100 round drums that they made for these. This particular model doesn't actually accept those drums. The drums typically slide in from the side, whereas these stick mags come straight up like so. The magazines are 30 rounds apiece, or what we're using today, 29 round YouTube compliant magazines. 29 round magazines in my very semi-automatic machine gun. Now for our selectors, our controls here, we have 2 different selectors. One is for fire and safe. The other one is for full auto or single fire, but it's a machine gun, so.
Interesting.
I mean, you don't really have to mess with that. We all know what it's here for. Now the question is, how was I able to get my hands on an M1A1 full auto Thompson? Well, for one, it's from the support of people like Collectors Firearms. They're a huge firearm retailer based out of Houston, Texas, and they've got a massive collection. I think they said
You know what sucks? I live in Cali, and getting a gun is such a pain in the ass, man. It's like I go to not gun stores, but go shopping online for guns, and a lot of the sellers was like can't they can't send it, they can't ship it to Cali because of their gun laws. It's fucking retarded, man. Damn, I wish somebody could change it. And I remember when I first got my permit to carry a handheld, right? For for the house, one of those house protection. I want to get my carry on next, but I'll probably get it later. But the lady, or I heard some couple guys talking, and they were just talking how Cali was just fucking garbage, and hopefully, you know, they're able to change the law, or hopefully the gun association or something is able to fight back to the governor. But yeah,
They've got like
I hope things turns out pretty good
12,000 firearms
because fuck the government.
and like 500 swords routinely in stock. But anyhow, if you're interested, go ahead and go check them out, but we appreciate their support in helping make this video happen. So it looks like we have a spare dummy out on the range, but this one is a little unique. As you'll notice, his noggin appears to already have arrived empty and is instead full of mush, much like the average Austin feminist. But I hate to see a perfectly good ballistic dummy out here on the ranch just rotting away when there's still a little bit of use we can get out of it. So we'll show it some love with the Tommy. Best job I ever had.
Damn quick.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Please come quick. It's my son. He's very sick. Now, onto this Thompson in particular, this was actually an auto ordnance, semi-auto build of a Thompson that was converted using original Thompson parts. So this is, of course, like full auto Thompson, lower fire control group, however you'd say that, or this whole bottom piece. I'll show you in a second. It comes off. But the receiver and everything, of course, started life as a semi-auto clone of an M1A1 Thompson. So to show you how this works, of course, it's direct blowback, but it's a little different than the typical tube that we see a lot in these open bolts direct blowback subguns. First off, we have a little button back here, right above the end of where the receiver is, right on the bottom side. Pushing that allows us to pull this back a little bit, and I think I have to pull the trigger here and allow this to separate. But this just completely comes off the gun. But as you see from the lower or the trigger pack, it functions much in the same way that all the other subguns function, where you pull the trigger and the sear just gets out of the way of the bolt. It allows the bolt to just function as it's designed to function until you let off the trigger, and then a little sear pops up again to catch that bolt when it's coming back, keeping the bolt open and ready to fire for whenever you pull the trigger again. As for the top part of the gun, we have a big old block of steel here. Block of steel with a spring in the rear. And that's pretty much it. Now, the original Thompson design was based on something called Blishlock, but that was later on canned as being too complicated, didn't really work out that well, and honestly, direct blowback is just really all you need for this gun to function. It's not incredibly complicated. The thing that is complicated, however, is the fact that this is a lot of billet steel. That and the bolt, for some reason, is a block of steel mixed with a cylinder for the bolt face itself, which is an interesting design choice, to say the least. Gets a little bit complicated when you're talking about 1920s manufacturing. Even back in the day, these things were expensive. The cost of the Thompson when it was brand new, I think, was listed by the War Department as being $225 a piece. I know what you're thinking, fire sale. Thompson are a high...
I'm like, damn, I have that type of money. But yeah, no. It's probably more. And if we compare it to today's price.
Shit, yeah, I want a full auto Thompson. Yeah, this was also way back in the day before the Federal Reserve ruined all of our lives and futures.
Oh my God.
I miss the gold standard. $225 back then, adjusted for inflation in 2023, is more like $3,900, which is just another reminder when you hear about inflation numbers, it's not just something that the old boring white people talk about on Fox Business. It's how much the government is actively robbing from the money that you already have by printing more fake money.
Indeed.
I'm in a mood today. It was the expense of the Thompson that led to the development of things like the M3 grease gun.
Ooh.
Super simple stamped sheet metal design that made up for a lot of the manufacturing flaws that the Thompson had. Well, the Thompson is a beautiful weapon. It's kind of complicated to make. The grease gun was a cylindrical bolt and a stamped clamshell that just got welded together. It's pretty damn simple. Where the Thompson was being made for $225 a piece in the 20s, the grease gun was being made in the 40s for, I think, 15 bucks, which just goes to show with weapon design that in wartime, simplicity can trump beauty in a pinch. And speaking of weapon design, if you're looking to get your start in gunsmithing and weapons technology, I hope you know you can go to sdi.edu to get your start today. The links are in the description and in the pinned comment as always, and we appreciate them being the main sponsor of the channel. Final thoughts on the Thompson. This is gonna piss a lot of people off. I don't really like them very much. They're really heavy, and honestly, the ergonomics suck. This stock is really iconic. It's cool looking until you shoulder it and you realize this was made before ergonomics were invented. The peephole sight is perfectly usable, but it's just so fucking awkward. I actually kind of like this handguard a little bit better than the Gangster Grip one. The Gangster Grip one looks cooler, but I have an easier time with this. But man, this stock is just not, it goes down for like no reason. In reality, it should just be cupping your shoulder like up here, but yeah, I'm not a mega fan of these guns. They're heavy, the ergos are weird, the cyclic rate is just a little bit higher than I would prefer, but you know what? All of this comes in the context of this was the first submachine gun that was developed in the United States, at least to my knowledge. This was developed alongside of and was produced like 3 years after the MP-18 or the Bergman, the first real
that was a good gun.
Combat submachine gun during World War I. So in that context, I mean, the United States kind of hit it out of the park with this. Is it a great subgun by modern standards? No, we have so much better stuff.
Of course.
But designed in the era where bolt-action rifles were the assault rifle of the day, yeah, the Thompson kind of fucks. You subscribed already, haven't you? Okay. I believe you.
Yeah, of course.
But my Tommy gun don't.
No.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Thompson submachine gun. While I have my qualms about the ergonomics of this weapon, one thing's for sure, it is an American icon and an absolute pleasure to have in the collection. I hope you guys enjoyed taking a thorough look at it.
It's a beauty.
Stay tuned, we've got a lot of really, really exciting videos coming up. Darwin Awards is making a comeback. We're gonna be taking a deep dive into the shooting of MLK, and then we're gonna go full Inglourious Bastards, taking a look at the Sedgley Mark II fist gun. All this and more on Dragon Ball Z. I appreciate you guys staying to the end of the video, and as always, I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers in the next video. Thanks.
Good shit. You should watch, you should go visit his YouTube channel. Pretty good.